guys? Matt here from Become Elite, and today I'm doing something different. I'm just answering a question that I get all the time, and something that I've always wanted to go over is just my story of how I became a pro. So it's been a really, really long journey. It's not one little step that I did to become a pro. It's really just been an accumulation of small successes over a long period of time. And so I'm just gonna go over basically my career and what I specifically did to continue to advance higher and higher. Now I'm going to skip over my youth from like 5 years old until 14. That time was more just for fun. I was playing rec soccer from kindergarten until 5th grade. And then in 5th grade, I joined my first club team, and I pretty much was just an average player on different club teams in the state of Oregon, kind of bouncing around from team to team, going B team up to the A team, and I was always never really a star. I was kind of a center back, and I just kind of did my role, and I did my role well. I worked hard every day, but I wasn't like the star. And I was never on the ODP team, I was never on regional team, national team, anything. I was never on the best team in the state. It was really just honestly an average youth club career. There was really no telltale signs in my youth that I was gonna be as successful that I am today. And then so my extra training at this time was really not doing extra drill work and typical training. It was more just playing and having fun with my little brother out in the front yard, doing 1v1s, doing juggling, trying to do different tricks, shooting on this goal that we set up. So it was not like I was doing drills and doing all this, this perfect program at this age. I was mainly I just loved to play soccer, and I went out there and I would always continue just to keep on training. However, soccer was not my main sport. My main sport this time was basketball. And I always wanted to be a basketball player. I thought I was going to go to the NBA. This was my dream. That's what I wanted to do. Soccer was just a way to really stay in shape for basketball season. And as I got older and older and closer to that 14 age mark, I started to like soccer more and more, and basketball kind of stayed the same. And so it kind of was brought up. And so by the time I was 12, 13, 14, it wasn't basketball as my main sport, and I played soccer just to stay in shape. It was now I love basketball and I love soccer. So when I was 14 years old, I entered into my freshman year of high school, and this was the time where I kind of had to do some focusing because the sports really ramped up in high school. In high school, it wasn't just a 3-month season and then you're done. It was 3 months plus spring and summer workouts. Basketball was almost a year-long thing, and so it really ramped up in intensity. And so I did the high school season of soccer in the fall. So the fall season I did high school soccer, and it went great. I made the JV team, and I was one of the best freshmen in the school, and I had an okay season on JV. I started some games, I played pretty well, and I had a few goals as a right winger. So I was getting pushed up more into the offense. And then after freshman year, I decided that I wanted to give basketball one more year, really to see how high school basketball was. So I did freshman basketball, and this was an everyday thing, and it went all the way into the summer, and I kind of just said I can't do this and club soccer at the same time if I want to give, complete effort into this high school sport. So I took a break from club soccer, and I just asked a friend who was a coach if I could come train with his team just once or twice a week when I had free afternoons. And he said, yeah, come on in. So that's what I did that winter, is whenever I had a free afternoon that lined up with their practice schedule, I could also train with them. But I didn't play in games, and I had no commitments to make every single practice, which was a pretty good setup. So I could continue to train soccer while I was playing, doing basketball full time. And then so after freshman year basketball, when it ended in the spring, I kind of was like, I don't really like this as much. I'm not having as much fun playing basketball as I did playing soccer. I'd almost rather play club soccer and continue to become a better soccer player than play basketball. I also kind of looked at myself and said, where do I have the best future? Where am I going to see the most success? So if I'm going to focus on one, I want to focus on the sport where I'm most successful at. And I chose soccer because I realized that I'm one of the best freshmen in the school at soccer, but basketball, I didn't really even start for my freshman team. So it was kind of more of I just chose soccer because I was better at it. So also, I didn't mention, also during this freshman year, it really started back in 8th grade, but I started really resistance weight training because I was tiny. Freshman year, I was 5'2" and 100 pounds, and I would just get pushed around like nothing. I had a good skill set, I was pretty fast, and I could run forever, but anybody that comes in for a tackle with me, I would go flying. So I was like, I want to build a stronger base of muscle. I want to be bigger, and I want to be able to hold up the ball and really be a more demanding force on the field. So I started weight training. I started doing a whole bunch of research into it. Will it stunt my growth? I was looking at how to build muscle. I was looking at how to build muscle the fastest. I was looking at supplements. I was looking at diet plans. I researched endlessly. And then I kind of, through trial and error of testing out different workouts, testing out different food, I kind of slowly started gaining weight and muscle mass. It was nothing crazy. It was like 10 pounds in the first, 6 months, but I was seeing a little bit of improvements. I was starting to see a little bit of muscle formed. You no longer could just see every single rib of my body. I was really starting to put on a little bit, become more of a normal looking person instead of just a skeleton. And then, so I continued weightlifting every single day. So I weightlifted about 4 days a week, and I did this every single week of the year from 8th grade, freshman year, all the way up until now. So I've never really taken any break at all. And that's part of the reason why I've been able to build a steady base of muscle and become more athletic, is because I just stayed so dedicated to it. So back to soccer now. So over the summer, going into my sophomore year of high school, I realized I no longer had the time commitment that I needed to play basketball. So I could use that extra time to do extra trainings and extra workouts because I really wanted to focus all my effort into soccer. So after basketball season ended now, I had no club team. The team that I was training with just as a practice player was a year older, and so I needed to find a club team quick because it was the middle of the season. So I kind of scrambled and I found a local team, Brought a Mile, and honestly, they just weren't that good. The practices were more for fun. The coach was, a great coach for that team, but he wasn't really pushing skill development. And so I was a little bit frustrated with all the trainings and the games. So the trainings just weren't that good, and I kind of realized that, look, if I'm not going to get the training and the quality of the training that I want at my club team, I need to do extra work so I can keep on improving, and when I join a different team in the next year, I will still be able to compete. So this spring and summer, I trained with the Brought a Mile, and I really started doing my own training sessions, my own drills, drilling through cones, focusing more on developing as a soccer player and not just really going out there for fun anymore. It was fun, but I had a little bit different goals. And so this kind of started my real training phase at 14 years old, where I kind of committed and I said, I'm going to train to develop as a better soccer player. I'm not just going to go out and just kind of goof around. I did that sometimes, but my main goal was to become a better soccer player. So I did that all summer, and then sophomore year comes again. And when it did, I was one of the only sophomores to make the varsity team. So I found, I got a lot of success. However, being one of the younger guys on that team, and I was still small, I had gained some muscle. I was about 115 pounds now, 120 pounds. I was getting pushed around still from the bigger guys. And I just didn't have that great of a season, because being that smaller, younger guy, I was more towards the bottom of the team. I came off the bench, and it just wasn't, the best season. However, I saw that my potential a couple of years down the road. I was like, look, if I keep on training, by the time I'm a senior, I could be one of the best guys on the team. And so that really motivated me to keep on training. I also had a lot of motivation to keep on lifting because I saw how much bigger and how much stronger and how much faster these guys were than me. There was actually one game in particular where we played against our rival school, and the coach pulled me aside about halftime, and I had not played yet, and I wanted to get in the game. And he says, "Matt, I'm not going to put you in the game today." And I said, "Why?" And he goes, "Because it's just too physical, and I'm afraid you're going to get hurt." And that sucked, hearing that, not being able to play in a game because you're too small is kind of like a big insult. It's hard to hear, it's never fun to hear that you're too weak to even be put in a game because the coach fears for your safety. But that's where I was, and that just provided more motivation for me to keep on working out and keep on trying to gain muscle mass so I wouldn't have to hear that again next season. And then so the tryouts for the club teams came around, and I tried out for a few different clubs, and it didn't go very well. I had good tryouts and I thought I did well, but I got put on the B team of this team that I tried out for, the Westside Metros, and I got put on the B team, and I was pretty mad. I knew I deserved to play on the A team. I looked up on the A team and I saw some friends from different schools that I had known, and I thought that I was just as good as them, if not better, and I was really confused as to why I'm on the B team. But I thought, you know what, whatever, 1 year, and I'll come back, or maybe not even a full year, and I'll get pushed up to the A team. That was my train of thought. I was very, very confident that I was going to get pushed up to the A team because I compared myself to the other players and saw that I was better than them. However, it didn't happen. I stayed on the B team, and I had a great season with the B team. I was leading goal scorer, captain. Had a great year. It was fun because I always had the ball. I was always taking on guys. I was always doing extra, stuff in the games because I was one of the better players. But I was never recognized by the A team to say, "Come on up. We want you to play with us." And that hurt, a lot because I saw my friends all on the A team and I saw them having fun, and I'm over here on the B team, and it was kind of embarrassing almost. I wanted to be on the A team so bad, and I was so mad at that coach for not letting me be on the team that I used all that frustration, anger to train harder. I trained more and more, added more training sessions to my week, because I wanted to prove to that coach that he made a mistake. I wanted to show him that, look, I'm the best player, in this region. You missed me, I wanted to show him that he really screwed up this decision to put me on the B team. That was my whole thought, and that's what I used for motivation to keep training. So I stayed on the B team all that whole year, and when junior year comes, I enter into high school again, and I make varsity again, and I have a really bad injury. I tear my gluteus maximus. What happened was a great learning experience. I was squatting, and I had, just a normal amount of weight on my back, and I was doing something, and I get a little tweak in my butt, my side, my right gluteus maximus, and I kind of waved it off. I'm like, whatever, and I was like, no pain, no gain, like everybody gets a little tweak, I can keep on squatting. So I did a few more sets, and then I did a few more sets of another exercise, and I kept on hitting my legs, just thinking, and I knew something was off. It felt a little weird, but I kept on pushing it because I wanted to get as good as I could get, and I was kind of like, you know what, don't quit. And it was a good mentality most of the time, but when you have a little injury like that, you need to back off. You need to take that rest and realize that if you take 3 days of rest right now, when the injury is just starting, you can really get over it in 3 to 4 days. But I kept pushing it. And then I had a game that weekend, and I played in like 2 games that weekend, and I felt weird. I wasn't sprinting as fast, but I was like, whatever, man. I'm not going to tell my coach to pull me out. And then after that weekend, I hit legs again the next day, next week. And that's when I knew something was wrong. It hurt just to walk around. And I went to the doctor, I went to a physical therapist, and I realized that I tore my gluteus maximus, and it was a pretty severe strain, and that I'd be out for 3 to 4 months. So there went my entire junior year high school season down the drain. I played in like one game, and it was just terrible. It was terrible. But I learned, you learn about the limits of your body. And so now I have pushed myself a lot to that limit, and I get a little tweak somewhere. And now I immediately know I'm taking 2-3 days off, letting that heal, and then I can hit it hard again. But I make sure I know my body. So now I'm entering into the club season once again for my junior year. I try out for Westside Metros again, thinking, I'm going to kill it now. This coach knows me. I had a great season last year on the B team. There's a few changes up on the A team that can be made. I'm going to make the A team, and it's going to be my year. I had a bad high school season my junior year. I had a bad club season. I'm going to make this my year. And I go to the tryouts, and I kill it. I do so well. I'm like, there's no way. I'm super pumped. And I get a call, and it's the manager, and he goes, "You're on the B team again." And I go, "Okay." And I was really confused, and I was pissed. And the worst part was it was the manager of the B team who called me. So the A team coach didn't even put in the effort to call me and explain to me why he didn't put me on the A team. He just had somebody else do it. And so I think that was the most upset and mad I've ever been over soccer in my life. I was so frustrated. I was pissed, and I wanted to quit. I was like, I'm done. I'm almost done with high school, and I'm gonna go through all this like BS with this team. I was like, it's stupid. At this point, I knew I was better than players on the A team. I was 100% sure. I was told by people on the A team that I was better than other people on the A team. I was asked by parents why I was not on the A team. And all of this to me, I was like, why am I being cheated out of this? Why am I being pushed down to the B team year after year when I know I deserve to be up on the A team? And I told my dad I wanted to quit, and he said, "No, listen, you have all this potential. Just think about, if you can be seen by the right person at the right time, you're gonna make it far." And, I didn't really want to quit. I was just frustrated. So I said, "You're right. Let's keep on giving this a chance. I'll keep on playing for the B team, and I'll just see how it goes." In my mind, I was just thinking I just want to have a good senior year, and then just be happy with how my high school varsity soccer goes. And then that was pretty much it for my goals with soccer. I didn't really see much as in college. I kind of just was thinking about the short term. Looking back on it, I should have had longer goals, but at the same time, I was in a very low place in soccer, and so it was hard to think about that you have a real chance at a future in soccer when you're on the B team of your club team, and you haven't had any success in high school really either, and you're 17 and you're a junior in high school now. So that was pretty tough. But I persevered, and I kept on training, and I kept on using that motivation of why am I not on the A team to fuel my training sessions, to train harder, to lift more, and just to become a better player. And at this time now, as a junior, I was about 150 pounds and 5'9", 5'10". So I grew a little bit, and I also had packed on a pretty good amount of muscle at this point. So I was really becoming more athletic and stronger, and I just felt fast and pretty sharp playing. So I was definitely starting to peak up at my skill level and how I was playing. And so I continued to play with the B team that whole year, even though I was very frustrated. There was practices where I was like, why am I here? Because it was just very, very goofy, and I wanted more from the practices, and it was hard being there on the B team and looking over and seeing the A team practice and just wishing I was over there. And fortunately, I got called up for a couple games because the A team was short on players, and I played great. I scored a goal, and I thought I had a really good showing for that tournament. But the coach, I guess, didn't think so, and he pushed me back down to the B team. So at this point, I'm pretty much like, there's no way I'm going to make on the A team. What more can I do? I go to the A team's games, and I score a goal, and I become, what I think at least a starter, and I get no feedback. I get nothing from him. And so it was very frustrating. And then, but I just continued to train, continued to lift, and just continued to work hard. And then by the end of my junior year, my dad was pretty much kind of pressuring me. He said, you should try to go play college soccer. And I had no idea what the level of college soccer was. He had no idea what the level of college soccer was. We just kind of were like, it'd be cool. And I knew I was a good player, and he knew I was a good player. And we both kind of felt that I was underrated. And so I was like, yeah, why not? Let's just try it. And then so we found, I started looking at schools I was interested in, and I knew I wanted to stay on the West Coast, and I knew I wanted to go down to California. I thought that'd be cool. And I wanted to try to play D1 just because it sounded cool. I didn't want to try to go D2 or D3 unless I had to. I wanted to start at the top, and if I didn't make it, then try to go D2 and then D3. And so I found the school UC Davis that had my academic interests, like fit my style. It was in California. It looked pretty cool, and so I was like, my dad said, you should go. We'll pay for you to go down there and try a ID camp, which is pretty much just a camp where the coaches evaluate like 200 kids that come in for like potential recruits. And so I flew down to California by myself, and I got a hotel by myself, and I pretty much stayed down there for a week while I did this camp, which was like 3-4 hours a day of training. And within the first day, the coach really liked me. He saw my speed, he saw my skills, he saw my ability to take people one-on-one, and he started talking to me just about what my grades were, where I came from, who I played for, what my history is, all that stuff, trying to get a good feel of who I am. And I continued to play very well for the rest of the camp. And at the end, he pulled me aside at the end and said, let's stay in contact. And that's pretty much all they can really say at the camps. They can't say much more than that. So I sent an email afterwards saying, like, thanks for the camp. I'm very interested in your school. Here's my highlight video again. Here's my soccer resume. And we kept on staying in contact. As I kept on playing more games and filming more stuff, I sent him more footage. I kept him in the loop of what was going on. And it went pretty well. He had, being in California and where my club team was in Oregon, there was really no idea about who my club team was. So I could say my club team, and he honestly didn't know if it was a B team or A team. I kind of left that detail out. I just told him that I was the leading goal scorer and captain. And, my whole idea was, if he likes me, what does it matter what team I'm on? And over that summer, actually, there was a change in coaching staff with the A team, and a new head coach came in. Pretty much right after that, I got pulled up to the A team, and I started starting, and then I became the leading scorer, and then I became the team MVP and the captain. And I kind of, at this whole moment of going into my senior year of high school, everything switched. I went from B team player and just with no college offers or anything, just thinking my career was going to be over in a year, to all of a sudden being recruited by a D1 school, being moved up to the A team, becoming captain, leading scorer, all that stuff. So it really was a quick change, but it wasn't a quick change just randomly. This was years and years of hard work and extra training and extra lifting without any recognition, without any success, and then it all came at once. The floodgates kind of opened, and I felt like it was a big release. Like I've been working and working and working, and it's been building up and building up and building up with no success, and all of a sudden it just breaks and all the success kind of comes out. And senior year, same thing. I had a great senior year. I had 13 goals, and I was like all conference, all city, and all state, and I was getting a lot of recognition. Oregon State started talking to me, and then I kept on, staying in the loop with all these coaches, sending emails, and I pretty much got automatic admission into Oregon State, into UC Davis. And as the year kept on going on, I kept on kind of questioning, what's the next steps? When can I be signed? And they just said, we'll keep in touch. We'll keep in touch. And then February came, and all of a sudden, it's been quiet for about a month or two, and I'm starting to get scared. I'm like, what's going on with my D1 offers? Like, I thought I had all these, and this was pretty scary. And then all of a sudden, they both, UC Davis and Oregon State, invite me to official visits, and then I go to both, and they both offer me spots and scholarship money, and then Gonzaga also starts talking to me, and they want to bring me in for official visit. And I pretty much, after talking and feeling it all out, I mean, they were all great coaches, great schools, but I wanted to go down to California. I wanted to try something new, and I wanted to go to the school with the coaching staff that kind of saw me from day one versus that kind of came later in the loop, especially when they were in Oregon and they didn't really see me beforehand. So I wanted to go down to California and just do something different. And so I went down to California and I had a pretty good college career there. But once I signed that national letter of intent to go play at UC Davis, I realized that my current training methods, or I thought my current training methods wasn't going to be enough. So I increased how much I was training, I increased how much I was lifting, I increased how much I was running to really try to prepare to come into college. And I actually was doing more than I needed, or not more than I needed, but I thought I was behind and I thought I wasn't working hard enough. But it turns out I was working harder than a lot of the other people coming in. And I thought, in particular, my fitness was going to be bad. And so I kept on running, and I come in and I was the second fittest guy on the team. I was running sprints past a lot of guys, and the coaches saw that. They saw that I must have been working hard over summer, and they rewarded me with some playing time as a freshman. And I actually started my first preseason game, and I scored a hat trick. And the next game, I scored another goal against Chico State. And then the rest of the season, I was in and out of the starting lineup. I was having a really good freshman year, and I ended up with 2 goals and 2 assists in the main conference play. And so it was a pretty good freshman year. And then I saw that, and I was like, I have a chance of really becoming something pretty big in college. And so I was like, I just need to work harder. So I recognized that the more work I'm putting in consistently and sticking to this schedule, the higher up and the better I'm playing, the more playing time I'm getting, the more goals I'm scoring, and just the better I think that I'm playing overall. So after freshman year, I increased all my training even more. And I start training with other people and other players on the team that kind of balance out my weaknesses. There's one player in particular, Conti Kilocotronis. He was amazingly skilled at soccer. He had all the moves and the control and the technique that I didn't have. I kind of relied more on my speed and my athleticism to score goals and to play in the game. And he kind of said, like, look, you're already fast, you're already athletic. You shouldn't be focused on improving that. You should be focused on improving your weakness, your skill work. Come with me, train with me every single day, and we're going to improve what is not the best part of your game, so that you'll have this complete package. And so I went out with Conti, I went out with Ramon Martin Del Campo, and I went out with Chris, I went out with many different players, and I just always was working on different aspects of my game. If I went out with a goalkeeper like Chris, I would be shooting on him all the time. If I went out with a defender, I'd be going one-on-one moves against him. If I went out with Conti, who was a center mid, I'd be working on my passing and my technique. And so I was really kind of becoming a all-around, just better player. And so freshman year, I did that all freshman year. Over the summer, I came back to Portland, had some fun, just hanging out, and still trained. And when I came back into preseason again, sophomore year, same thing. I felt faster, I felt stronger, and I felt more skilled. I was more confident, and I had an even better season this year. Not by a ton, but I had 3 goals and 2 assists. And so I'm starting to see this progression. The harder I'm working, the more I'm seeing it start to build up, the more playing time I'm getting, and it's getting better and better and better. And so I was like, I wonder what's going to happen if I do more work. So same thing, same year, the whole year again, I'm doing all these extra trainings, which is all on top of a normal D1 athlete's schedule of practicing every single day, lifting twice a week, doing extra conditioning work, and a full course load. I'm still going out, I'm still doing extra lifting and extra training, because my goal is just to see how good I can get in college. I like scoring goals, I love that feeling, I like having, all that I liked winning games. And so that was like a big motivation behind it, was I just like scoring goals, and I like being a good player, and I like having that feeling of success. And I still at this time wasn't thinking about going pro. I just liked being successful. And so I thought the harder I work, the more successful I'll be.